Greetings, it is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It's time for Gathering the Roll, the only news program supported by the Empire. Exciting and fantastic news from the worlds of Magic the Gathering and role-playing games such as Dungeons & Dragons, Shadowrun, and Pathfinder. So let's move on to the news from this week. We have a little bit of Magic news with one tournament that's going on this week. The Grand Prix Rotterdam in the Netherlands is going on this weekend. Now, all the registration is already filled up, so unfortunately you cannot join at this time, but it is going to be a team-limited format. What this means is going to be 3-member teams that are going to get together to play, and they're going to be doing limited format decks, meaning they're going to be constructing their decks there. So it's going to be a sealed deck type tournament. So if you do want to check it out, you can actually go online to Magic's Twitch channel and watch it while it's going on. I will put the link to the Twitch channel in the description below. You should be able to find out when it's going on with their Twitter account and such. So go ahead, link to it if you want to. You can watch this tournament over the weekend. Moving on from that, we do have a couple of releases from Pathfinder, or Paizo. There's actually 3 of them this week. The first off is the Villains Codex. Now, this book has over 20 organizations that are villainous and has new rules for making your villains more in-depth, increasing their abilities, making them more memorable to your players, that you can build, of course, as I said, more memorable villains for them to fight against and to increase the enjoyability of your games. They've also released, of course, the Hell's Vengeance Pawn Collection. Now, this is over 100 cardboard pawns that you can get together, punch them out of the boards, that you can use if you're using battle boards or some kind of setup of the similar, that you can place these pawns in the various locations. They represent all the creatures from the entire adventure path of Hell's Vengeance and a few extras that are in there in case they may show up from things like random encounters. So now if you're playing the Hell's Vengeance adventure path, it's a good thing for setting up battle boards. And how about a lot? You will have the tokens to represent all the different monsters you're going to have, including the unique ones. Moving on from that, they've also released a new flip map, Asylum. Now you have this kind of old, possibly no longer in use, haunted, insane asylum where the mad were once imprisoned. Almost it could even be a jail for the madmen. So now, if you can use this in any of your adventures, if you need some kind of insane asylum, either in use or disuse, your choice. And of course, it's got the 2 different sides. It is also set up that you can use either dry or wet erase markers on it, so you can mark things down if you really need to on this flip map. In Shadowrun news, there's of course 2 new Shadowrun Legends novels. If you've been enjoying those as I've been suggesting them, you can continue to check them out. It seems to be a pretty popular thing that they've been putting out, stories from their universe, which I love this universe very much. But Praying for Keeps and Headhunters are now out. You can check out these 2 novels and enjoy some more Shadowrun novels. Now, moving on from your role-playing based news, into some board game based news I wanted to talk about with you guys. There are 2 expansions to some board games I want to mention that have just come out over the past couple of weeks. The first one is an expansion, the first expansion to the board game Betrayal at House on the Hill. Now you can get Widow's Walk. This one increases the number of rooms, adding a bunch of them, adds a bunch of new omens, of course adds a totally new group of haunts that you can play through the game every different time, gives some new areas like rooftops you can climb to, as I said, a lot more tiles. So now you can enjoy an enhanced version of the original Betrayal at House on the Hill game if you want to check it out. The other board game release I do want to talk about is the 3rd expansion of the Elder Sign. Now, Elder Sign is a dice-based / card-based game based in the Arkham Horror universe. This 3rd expansion, called Omens of Ice, takes your investigators from the museum and streets of Arkham all the way to Alaska, where strange things are going on, and it possibly looks like another Elder Horror is attempting to be resurrected into our world. So now you can face the wilds, face the wild animals, face the monsters, and hopefully stop another Elder Horror from arriving in our world. So that's it for the news for this week. Any important links to any of these news stories will be in the description below. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, of course, the news. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say about any of these news stories, any kind of discussions about any of them, please just leave in the comments below and we'll go over it. If you want to show some extra support for the channel, of course, you can check out my Patreon link down below. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.